Ever since the Industrial Revolution, the burning of fossil fuels has become common in our everyday lives. Factories use it to power the machinery they use to make the things we need or want. Vehicles use it to move, and it even powers some of our homes. Studies have shown that 80% of the world's power is made through fossil fuels. That is a huge issue because fossil fuels emit a lot of CO2 when it burns, and it contributes to global warming. How, you may ask? Well, when the sun's rays hit Earth, some of it is reflected back to space and some of it is absorbed by the Earth. The absorbed heat is then emitted to warm the air, making Earth livable. It is important that some of the rays get absorbed so that we don't freeze to death, but it is also important that some gets reflected so that the Earth doesn't get too warm. CO2 doesn't care about that and absorbs some of the radiation that is being reflected back into space and emits it back into the air. Now, if you want more evidence, here's a graph of the level of CO2 in the air for the past 800,000 years. There are ups and downs, but can you find where the Industrial Revolution happened? I'll wait. Okay, I'll give you a few seconds. I only have 5 minutes here, so speed it up. You got it? Okay, it's right here. As you can see, as soon as the Industrial Revolution started, the level of CO2 in our air has skyrocketed. Now let's look at a climate graph. As you can see, the world gets warmer as soon as the Industrial Revolution happens. So now that you know how it contributes to global warming or climate change, let's look at some adverse effects of burning fossil fuels. When burning fossil fuels, they also release sulfur dioxide, or SO2 for short. It can cause acid rain to form. Also, it is dangerous to inhale because it can cause asthma, nasal congestion, and pulmonary inflammation. With the heat rising in the Arctic, the ice will start to melt. And when the ice melts, the water levels will rise as well. This can flood towns or cities near coastal areas, and it can also take away habitats from the Arctic animals. Something else that's a bit surprising is that the oceans have been more toxic because of the abundance of CO2 in the air. The oceans have absorbed a quarter of the world's CO2. And since the Industrial Revolution, the oceans have been 30% more acidic. This makes the oceans harder to live for the animals. So after hearing all that, you might think that there's nothing we can do. But there are many ways that we can solve this issue on a societal level and an individual level. Now, what can we do ourselves? Well, try to walk or use a bike to get to places you need to go. Of course, if your destination is 10 miles away, then you should probably drive. You probably breathe so hard that you release more CO2 than the car would have anyways, so yeah. But if your destination is close, do it. It's also a great exercise. In a time like this, it's very vital to stay active anyways. Another way is to just tell people about it.
An
I
80%
remember when
increase
the
in
news came
fires
out that the
just
Amazon
over the
rainforest
last year
was on
alone,
fire.
and this comes, of
We
course,
found
after
out
the
like
hot
3 weeks after it
Well,
started.
fields of rainforest
That
every
shouldn't
minute
happen.
of every day.
Climate change is
Smoke
a huge
spreading
issue
across.
and it doesn't get the attention it deserves. If everyone knows what's at stake, they might try to help. On a societal level, the fossil fuels should be used less or even not at all. They are cleaner and more sustainable ways to get energy, like solar and wind. If we all do our part and the government does theirs, maybe we can change that 80% to 0.